My name is Glenn Owens, and this is my presentation on the Treadway Tire Company, job dissatisfaction and high turnover at the Lima plant. So, Treadway Tire Company is a major supplier of tires to original equipment manufacturers such as Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, as well as replacement tire markets. They produce two of their own product lines, Primo and Performance tires, along with other private tire brands. Treadway employs almost 9,000 staff here in North America. The past several years have been hard on tire manufacturers due to skyrocketing raw material costs and intense global competition. Raw materials represent about 55% of the cost to produce a tire, and petroleum derivatives are an important ingredient to the mix. That being said, raw material costs are highly dependent on the price of oil, which has climbed, pressuring the economics of many tire companies. In 2000, the Lima, Ohio tire plant had undergone a $100 million expansion and modernization effort to increase plant capacity and utilize new manufacturing technologies. This made Lima one of Treadway's top plants for productivity and quality ratings. Treadway decided to shut down their Greenville, South Carolina plant, which had been overwhelmed by outdated equipment, and they moved those operations to the more efficient Lima plant. The additional volume had to be accommodated, so the Lima plant shifted to continuous operations, running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Brandon Bellingham, the plant manager in Lima, said that they had serious problems when he was referring to his plant having the highest turnover for any of Treadway's plants. Out of a total of 54 men at the Lima facility, 23 of those positions had turned over in 2007. In 2006, when Treadway's Greenville plant closed, Ashley Wall, a human resource professional with 10 years' experience at Treadway, moved over to the Lima plant with one major goal in mind: lower that turnover rate. Wall was up to the challenge and believed that once the turnover problem was fixed, Lima could be Treadway's best plant as far as production and lowest costs. She planned to cut overall costs and improve productivity by reducing turnover, but as a human resource professional, she knew that the company's turnover was just the tip of the iceberg. Dissatisfaction was spreading like wildfire from the ground level of hourly workers and foremen. There are multiple problems within the Lima plant, some that can be addressed and some that cannot. There isn't much Treadway could do about lowering raw material costs. That is mainly out of their hands. However, as Ashley Wall wanted to focus on reducing the high turnover, we'll start there. I think the company's turnover problem can be addressed through employees or from the company's point of view. Morale issues are a deep underlying cause to why there's so much employee turnover. Job dissatisfaction can affect everyone and be spread easily due to lack of communication. If problems continue, then management needs to step in and offer support. Allowing conflict to be dysfunctional can hinder group performance. Work overload is being caused by long shifts and is counterproductive. The length of shifts is pushing productivity past economies of scale and deep into the diseconomies. Some of this counterproductivity has poor training to blame. Some workers don't know how to do a job right and are never taught how to do that job right, so time just keeps getting wasted. This affects the chain of command, creating communication issues. If no one speaks up about how they don't know how to do their job, or a manager ignores that you don't know how to do your job, this creates even more problems within the organization. Which leads me to my last problem: for no room for advancement. These underlying problems are affecting the advancement opportunities. The line foremen are not setting limits and maintaining respect from their staff under them, which makes them look less successful. And this, in turn, makes upper management notice their quality of work being down and not wanting to advance them higher up in the company. The easiest alternatives Ashley Wall could do is nothing. She could begin with trying to stay away from the traditional view of conflict between workers and creating better communication between employees and turn conflict into a positive force to increase group performance. Wall can also decentralize control to reduce bottlenecks. Boundary spanning can offer relationships with people outside of their formal groups, resulting in better communication. There needs to be less severe punishment for severe goal performances and missing those performances. Not everything is controllable, and there needs to be some leeway because of that. There needs to be a good mix of concern for production as well as concern for people. People initially are selected and can be better done through the hiring process. Performance simulation tests can be used to create a miniature replica of a job to evaluate performance abilities. This will make sure that everyone can do their job efficiently. You could also make sure and check up on recent job history and recommendations to make sure that someone is reliable. Interpersonal skills to better communication and teamwork could really help Treadway as well. These skills could be used alongside management courses or development programs. And last but not least, a more flexible work schedule will allow more people to show up on time and be more productive at work during their whole shift. So my desired course of action is to run 3 8-hour shifts instead of the 2 longer 12-hour shifts. I believe it'll also be beneficial to start an internship program so that Treadway can train potential employees without having to pay them. Another thing, like I talked before about, is improving the hiring process to find an employee that better fits what needs to be done in the job. Leadership and management training for foremen to improve foreman leadership for hourly employees, as well as make it so that they could advance more easily. Offer employees incentives for good work. This is always a good idea, just to give them an incentive to do better and then something to strive for. Only critique for things in their control. Foremen were blamed a lot for issues that were out of their control, like hourly workers not showing up for work or staying out on lunch late, and I believe that those critiques of things that are out of their control should not be used against them. Create better relationships throughout the chain of command. So talking outside of your group so that you could have better communication along the chain of command instead of just your higher up boss that's right above you could really benefit this company. Create more opportunities for foremen to advance, like I was talking about before. Give them great training so that they have a good platform to build on and maybe advance into upper management. And I think it would be best if some of that pressure that are put on the foreman's shoulders be put on upper management, since they have less stress on their shoulders and they have less people overseeing them. And last but not least, regularly assess job satisfaction. That, of course, needs to be done to make sure that everyone is staying up to date on where their training needs to be, as well as making sure that everyone is happy with the job that they're doing and how their job is going. Thank you.